80% of your success is going to come from the offer and the audience. And if you are struggling, you very well might have, problems in terms of the technical execution of, how you're driving traffic or, what your funnel looks like. But, what's more likely true for the vast majority of people is that the offer needs to be adjusted.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Fast Foundations podcast. This is one of your hosts, RT Custer. I have the absolute pleasure of hanging out with my dear friend, Dorothy Hollabaugh today. And we're going to talk about digital marketing. Dorothy, why are there so many goddamn digital marketing companies? And what separates the good ones from the bad ones?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I mean, it's just such an honor to be here. And, it's an interesting question. And it's one that I've thought a lot about because, my company, we're a paid traffic agency specifically, and that is a crowded space. There are, many, many thousands of businesses, doing literally the exact same thing that we do, which is, running advertisements on Facebook, Google, TikTok, all these different platforms, to help businesses scale their customer acquisition. And, I think that the reason that there are so many businesses in this space is because it is a very simple one to get into when you're, just starting out as an entrepreneur. There's a very low barrier to entry. I think really the reason for that is because, it's not like, a physical product business or, brick and mortar business where there's this like large upfront investment. You can study and learn through free resources, paid resources, whatever it might be. And then, start working with clients, find people who are willing to take a bet on you and, allow you to help them with their marketing. And I think that's really how you end up with so many of these kind of accidental agency owners. It's something that you hear a lot, and it's because it's a very low friction way to get into entrepreneurship. And so there are a lot of them out there, but there are not as many great ones out there. And I think, it's the kind of thing where there's so much volume, but, if you're really great at what you do and you differentiate yourself in terms of the results that you get for clients, it's actually pretty easy to stand out, because of, the fact that so many people have been burned by, agencies that haven't delivered on their promises.
Totally. Well, before we get into that, Dorothy, tell us more about you. How'd you get into this world of digital marketing? And, you have a couple things going on. So what's your background and how did you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, it was a very twisty, turny path. I always planned on being an accountant. That was, I studied finance and accounting in college and was planning to go work for PwC when I left school. And, basically had this moment of sheer panic in realizing, right before I was about to graduate that I was doing it for all the wrong reasons. I was not excited about, that path I was on. I was doing it because I thought it was going to make me, quote unquote, successful. And, it really wasn't going to make me happy. And that wasn't, even part of the equation when I was originally deciding, what I wanted to major in, what I wanted to do. And so, once I really flipped that script and, made it about, okay, what's really going to make me happy in my life, make me fulfilled in my life, and make me great money, it took me on a different path. And so, I ultimately went and worked for a startup here in Chicago for the first, 3.5 years out of school, and then left that startup and started freelancing and, working with clients on my own. I hired a coach to teach me Facebook ads was where I started, and really worked with that coach hand in hand for my first year, learning how to get people results. Freelanced on my own for about 2.5 years, and then started growing a team, and that is what has ultimately become our agency, Needle's Eye Media.
That's awesome, and I love the journey that you just took us on, and just the pivots of entrepreneurship, the ups and downs, all that kind of stuff, but also what you said about success and happiness and the roller coaster that is that. And that reminds me, before we hit record, this is one of the things we were chatting about is just like, I don't know, happiness or lack thereof in terms of like being happy for ourselves and how far we've come. You've come a very long way in the time that I've known you, and I have too. But it's somebody said success is getting what you want, happiness is wanting what you get. So, what do you want, and what have you been getting recently in terms of your passion of trying to work, build these companies, but also what are the things that are bringing you joy throughout recently?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, you know, really what I think is so important to realize is that, as entrepreneurs, we tend to be these very driven, very ambitious, very, motivated, exacting type of, people. And that is a great thing in many aspects, but there's also another side to that coin. And I think, one of the other, you know, kind of pieces of that is that we are always moving the goalposts, right? You set these goals that, really excite you, when you make them. And, maybe it's, I want to get my first client, or, then it's, I want to make $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $50,000 a month. And, what is so interesting to me and what I've realized over the last 5 years, almost six that I've been doing this, is that every single time, when you are actually on the verge of hitting one of those goals that you had set for yourself, you have already piled on the next goal. It's
Mm,
already in, your rear view mirror, right? And so I think that makes it often hard to celebrate and hard to, really kind of enjoy the journey and be proud of yourself,
yeah.
in a way that I think is very important. And so, I love to ask myself this question of, you know, let me put myself in the shoes of, Dorothy 5 years ago. What would she think if she could see where I am today? And, the answer is, I mean, she would be so freaking proud. Like it's
Yeah.
not even, it's not even funny. I'd be blown away. And yet, we had a big milestone at the end of last year, hitting our first seven-figure year in the agency. And I really struggled to celebrate that. And I almost felt like I didn't deserve to celebrate that, if I'm being honest with you,
Yeah.
because in my mind, I was feeling like, well, of course, of course we're hitting this milestone. Like,
Yeah.
this has been the goal for 3 years running now. Like it's about time was kind of
Totally.
how I felt. And, now we're on pace this year. We'll double or triple that, revenue from last year, this year pretty easily, I think. And, it's such a powerful thing. And so if you're sitting in, the position where, you're really in the grind, early on in your entrepreneurial journey, asking yourself that question, putting yourself in the shoes of yourself 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, you know, it helps you to get perspective, and realize that you should be proud of yourself just for doing the damn thing,
For
just for
sure.
being on this path and, pursuing your dreams.
I agree completely, and I love that way of looking at it. I mean, 5 years ago, RT, I had a newborn. I had two. I now have two kids, but at that time, I was just having in the process. We were just having Sawyer. He's about 5.5 now, and obviously, I had these goals and these dreams, and like you said, seven figure years, and all that kind of thing. But I've had multiple seven figure years consistently since then. And like you said, it was just the plan. Honestly, the plan was bigger than that and faster than that. So I'm sure I would be proud, but totally in the moment, it's like, well, I'm still not at the goal, or I'm still not at the thing. But like you said, I keep moving the freaking goal. So why am I doing that to myself? What's been the thing? Because you have a wildly successful digital marketing agency. What's the thing that you feel like has you've kept consistent through the last couple years that has led to that success? Can you pinpoint it, or is there multiple things?
Yeah. And I think this actually speaks to kind of my earlier point about differentiating yourself, in this very crowded industry. I think it really worked to my advantage that I had no experience in an agency before
Hmm.
starting my own. I really did not know how other agencies operate, how they think about things. I was really, frankly, making it up as I went along. And I actually think that really work to my advantage.
Yeah.
And, the result of that is that, I have clients today that have been with me, like my first clients in the agency, two of them are still with me today. We have clients that have been with us for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and that is almost unheard of, when it comes to paid traffic agencies.
Yeah.
And, I think the thing that's made us successful and has allowed us to, create such loyalty in our clients and, such longevity, which tends to make it a lot more fun too, when you don't have this revolving door of clients.
Right.
It's the fact that, I think a lot of paid traffic agencies specifically, they take this attitude of, okay, our job is to send you qualified traffic. Now, what happens to that traffic after the click? That's on you, right? And, you know, I never really thought about it that way. I think the way that I have always really approached this is that, okay, even if we're doing, a better job than anyone else in the world inside of your ad account, if you aren't converting that traffic and
Mm.
it's not making you money, you're not going to keep driving traffic. You're not going to keep paying us to drive traffic, right? And so, um, really taking ownership of, helping our clients to be successful, in terms of the full stack, marketing funnel. That has really been the key to our success and what has allowed us to really go deeper with our clients to help them grow much bigger, and has allowed us to create this, this 7-figure agency with, without working with, 50 clients. Like, we work with 10 or 12 clients at a time. We go very deep with them, and we do very well with that. And I think it really is because of this different mindset that we take around, what success looks like.
Hey, it's RT. Thanks so much for listening to the Fast Foundations podcast. I want to see you in the room. I don't want you to just be hearing my and our voices. Let me tell you about the Fast Foundations Mastermind. It's a 6-month-long program, and it's our signature program. It's how you join our community. Every time we talk about this amazing community of almost 400 people that have gone through our mastermind, that we have here on the podcast, that we hear from, and our mentors, all that kind of stuff, all the guest speakers, the coaches, all the awesome things that we get to do, it all starts with the mastermind. It's a 6-month-long program with two-day in-person events. One's in Scottsdale, one's in Denver. Yes, they're in amazing, beautiful places. We have them in cool spots because that's fun. We also give you 6 months with a coach, one-on-one. And the most important thing is, once you go through that mastermind and you learn from all these amazing speakers that we bring in, learn from your coach, grow with me and Jim and the rest of our team, you get lifetime access to our community. Every single thing that we do is recorded and uploaded into a private platform off of Facebook, off of the social medias, all that kind of crap. And it's saved in one place that you have, again, lifetime access to. So when you join the Fast Foundations Mastermind, which you can learn more about at fastfoundations.com and click on Join the Community to apply, when you join this mastermind, you're in our community for life. I really hope to see you in the room, and I hope to talk to you soon. 100%. And I've seen, just when we're in masterminds together and we've been friends for a while, so I've seen that growth, and I've heard stories of the success you've garnished for a lot of these clients. Is there a couple just off the top of your head that you can share as far as like maybe what's working right now in the world of digital marketing, or what, a couple client wins without sharing? I think I know who they are, but like without sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some cool success stories recently, and I'll share one of my favorites, who's actually someone that you don't know.
Cool.
My client Matt, who has been with us since I believe early 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came to us, so he helps entrepreneurs, or not entrepreneurs, really anyone who wants to write a nonfiction book. He helps them to write their book. And when we started working together, he had this low ticket front end offer. He was sending people into these, high ticket group coaching packages, ghostwriting packages. And, he was doing pretty well, and, was spending, like, for all of 2021, we were spending, roughly I'd say 50 or not 50, 15, $15,000 a month, driving paid traffic into these offers. And, he was really busting his butt. I mean, fulfilling on these group coaching offers, these, high ticket one-on-one packages, he was working a lot. And, it was really, something where like what he was doing, it was not going to get him to the next level in terms of scale. And it was also not going to get him where he wanted in terms of lifestyle. And so what we helped Matt to do was to basically shift the offer, develop a completely self-serve evergreen offer that could be sold at scale, and then develop a webinar to sell that offer. And that tweak, that was a process of, over about, I'd say probably 6 weeks of testing live webinars, tweaking the offer, tweaking the messaging. And then we hit on a webinar that, seemed to work very well, started driving traffic into it evergreen. And he went from spending $15,000 a month on paid traffic to last month in January of 2022, we spent nearly $600,000 on ads for Matt, generating millions in profit. And that was really the result of this, fundamental shift, in what the offer looked like and the conversion mechanism that we use to sell it. Even though, what he actually does, helping people write nonfiction books, that never changed. And so, I think it's very easy to have this like shiny object syndrome of, the specific tactics or, media buying strategies, that we're employing inside of the account. But that's technical media buying. And, that is something that is always changing. But it's really the wrong thing to focus on, I think, for most people, because 80% of your success is going to come from the offer and the audience. And if you are struggling, you very well might have, problems in terms of the technical execution of, how you're driving traffic or, what your funnel looks like. But, what's more likely true for the vast majority of people is that the offer needs to be adjusted. The messaging and the audience who you're talking to needs to be adjusted. And I think that is really the, people get trapped in the details and kind of can't see the forest for the trees. And so that's always where, I think people need to start.
Got it. And do you, in your agency or when you're working with the clients like that, do you provide, consultation or advice or strategy sessions on like, hey, I'll take your money and run these ads, but like we got to perfect the offer before we hit send on these ads? Like, what does that conversation look like when you're working with a new client or a new offer from a new client?
Yeah. So, our ideal client is typically someone who has, had some measure of success. They have sold their product before, but they are, struggling to kind of break past this, ceiling of scale, right? And so, I think really what that looks like in practice is it's kind of like this concept of like sell people what they want, give them what they need. Often people come to us because, what they feel they need is just, they need better execution inside of their ad account. They need someone to run traffic. And usually once you kind of get under the hood, you realize that there's all of these other, holes in the bucket that exist. And no matter how great you are at sending traffic, if you don't plug those holes, you're not going to see the results that you're looking for. And so, we don't actually, build funnels or, design web pages for our clients, but we are doing a ton of consultation, to help them identify those holes and then guide them on what they need to do in order to plug them and really improve the conversion and the results of the traffic that we are sending. So it's this process that happens, simultaneously. It's, buy data, send some traffic, analyze that data, see where the gaps are, see where people are falling through, and then work with our clients to really guide them very specifically on what they need to change on the back end in order to, kind of plug those gaps.
Got it. And I've heard a lot of talk, especially like throughout the pandemic and throughout the last few years, about Facebook ads specifically, but just digital marketing and paid traffic getting a lot more expensive, pay for click and those kind of things. Can you speak to what are the best channels? Is Facebook still a great channel? Is Instagram more or less expensive than that? How do you factor in, a decision between Google ads and YouTube ads? Is TikTok actually a player yet, or are they still just messing around on the side? Like, what does that look like? I'm probably forgetting other ones at this point. There's so many. What does that marketing mix of platforms look like for you and your clients, and where are you most excited about going for the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, I love that question. I think for the vast majority of businesses, especially if you only have the budget to start on one platform, Facebook is absolutely still the lowest hanging fruit for just about everybody.
Hmm.
That's not to say that it hasn't gotten more expensive and gotten harder with iOS 14 and all of these things, but the power of the algorithm that Meta has is it is still, I would say, unmatched in terms of its ability to find you the right people. And so, in terms of lowest hanging fruit, it really is still Facebook. Once you are looking to achieve scale, YouTube is incredibly powerful.
Hmm.
So obviously, with one of the reasons that Facebook is more so low hanging fruit is that the video creative that's necessary to be successful on YouTube is harder for most people to execute on.
Yeah.
And whereas you have ad copy on Facebook, right? You can have a 600 word long form story ad that's really kind of nailing that messaging of the ideal customer that you're looking to bring in, which you don't have on a video only platform. And so I think YouTube is phenomenal for scale. Facebook is still the lowest hanging fruit. And then really, if you are someone who can execute well on creative for these short form video platforms, TikTok is definitely, I would say, what I'm most excited about in terms of the next 6 to 12 months. Really helping our clients to nail TikTok. But it really is still Facebook for the vast majority of people who are getting started and looking to validate new offers, test and really kind of find what is working for them.
Awesome. Thank you. That's super helpful. And I always, when somebody asks about digital marketing and paid traffic, and there's so many options, that's usually the first conversation is just like, well, how do I start small? Where do I test things? And which platform do I focus on either first or primarily? And I think you answered that for all of us. So I appreciate you, Dorothy. Next, I mean, you have this whole other thing that you've been building, and it's called the gig. And if you don't subscribe to the gig, I'm going to sell it to you real quick. If you subscribe to the hustle or anything like that, you should go look at the gig, because I'm obviously just a huge believer in email marketing. It's pretty much everything I talk about. It's how I get my news, is reading email newsletters. And I am also a huge fan of memes to tell stories. And I wish that these bigger, newsletters like The Hustle would just incorporate, a couple of memes periodically and have some fun with it. And that's one of the things, besides the excellent journalism and industry news, that I love the most about the gig. So, Dorothy, would you tell us in your own words, like, what is the gig? Who are you serving? Who should sign up for your newsletter? And, why did you get into that type of business on top of digital marketing?
Thank you. First of all, I really appreciate that. I am so passionate about freelancing as a path for people to start in entrepreneurship and to create more freedom and flexibility and income in their lives. Freelancing was absolutely my path to get to where I am today, and there are so many lessons that I've learned along the way and so many mistakes that I've made along the way, that we are just really passionate about sharing this information to help people to effectively take advantage of the opportunity that exists today with the exploding market for freelancers. So the gig is a daily email newsletter that is filled with really all of the tools, tips, advice, lessons, and news that you need in order to find success as a freelancer.
Mm.
And whether you are copywriting, whether you're running paid ads, graphic design, any of these what we call high income online skills.
That's awesome. And when you decided to start another business, you had I love the story of growing two businesses as someone who's multi-passionate just like you. Walk us through the decision of adding another business to your lineup, and then how and when you decided to bring in other people to help you with that.
Yeah. So I think a lot of this was a function of, wanting to create a business that wasn't so centered around, around me really,
Mm,
because I think, at the time that I had the vision for the gig, I was, I was really kind of the driving force in the success of the agency. And that was something where, I didn't really see, I didn't really see the path that I was looking for in terms of my ability to, grow something that I could really sell, that I could, that I could exit, that I could create value in the marketplace that wasn't tied to, the work that I was doing individually as kind of the face of the agency. And, what I'll say is that that has actually changed. So, probably 6 months after we launched the gig, I ended up meeting a guy named John Lawson, who is now my business partner in the agency. And really, we've seen a dramatic transformation in the agency in terms of, just my ability to put the team in place, where I am no longer kind of the bottleneck to everything. I'm no longer kind of that sole driving force. And so, I think the initial motivation for starting the gig and the current motivation to really grow it and move forward from here actually looks very different. And I think what's so exciting to me is that the gig, it is really this business of passion to help other people to really go down this path, because again, I think there is this confluence of you know so many people who are in 9 to 5 jobs, or who want to be entrepreneurs. They want to create more flexibility in their lives. They want that uncapped income, but they don't know where to start. And
mm,
then on the other side of things, there is this exploding, market of opportunity for freelancers to, support businesses, by leveraging these high income online skills. And so it really is something that I am just so excited about. Really, our goal is to reach 1 million freelancers through our newsletter and to help them to, really follow this path that myself and my co-founder Jim, that we've both gone down, and has created, such, really the kind of life that I always dreamed of, or, really started to dream of when I realized that, accounting wasn't the end game for me.
that's awesome. And if just one time to wrap that up, if I'm a freelancer or I'm just interested in that type of content, what's the best way for me to go get signed up for the gig?
Yeah. So, if you don't mind, I would love to share a gift with your audience,
Oh yeah.
because we worked really hard on this step by step training for how to get clients on Upwork. Now,
Mm,
Upwork has been really the backbone of my business as a freelancer. Even several of our agency clients, like our largest agent, Matt, the client who I told the story of before, I met him on Upwork. And so it is such a powerful platform. And I have this, very prescribed process that I use in order to find, and to really land the highest quality and, best clients on that platform. And you can get that at thegig.io/VIP. If you sign up for the newsletter there, we'll send you that training straight into your inbox totally for free. So that's thegig.io/VIP.
Thank you, Dorothy. That's awesome. Super generous. I appreciate you. If somebody wants to connect with you, I mean, first of all, are you even taking agency clients, at the scale that you're at with these awesome clients? Like, what is it if somebody wants to work with you, what do you even say at this point?
We are not technically taking on new clients, but I feel like every time I say that, the universe delivers me a perfect fit client that we can't say no to. So,
Yeah.
no, we are definitely boutique. Our focus is on going really deep with, a smaller number of clients. But I always love to, connect with entrepreneurs, with other business owners. And so you can find me on LinkedIn, Dorothy Hollabaugh. You can find me on Instagram at Dorothy Holla, and I would love to connect with you.
Thank you, Dorothy. That's awesome. I appreciate all of the wisdom that you shared today. This was another mentor session with another one of my favorite mentors, Dorothy Hollabaugh. Thank you for joining us. I'll put all the links and everything that she just shared in the show notes underneath me here on either YouTube or wherever you're listening. If you're just listening, you should probably check out YouTube, because then you can see us and you can actually watch along. But regardless of where you're at, hit that subscribe button so we can send you more of these amazing mentor sessions as we grow the Fast Foundations podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.